The Sharks have their practically annual New Year's Eve disaster happen once again, this time in the Dallas Metroplex. We'll break down this game. We'll break down a little bit of the year that was for the San Jose Sharks in 2022, and we'll also break down the Barracuda falling apart. Right now on Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark. It is New Year's Eve 2022. Thank you so much for joining us on this night, wherever you are around the world in Sharks territory. And if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Chat with us and fellow Sharks fans all over YouTube on the page or the app. Of course, we would love for you to follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, TikTok, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. Of course, if you want to support the show, hit us up on Venmo at tealtownusa or a super chat donation also. And we would love to hear from you tonight after this one. Joined by Felix Chow. How are you, my friend? You're muted, buddy.
Sorry, great way to start off the show, right? No, but I'm doing pretty good on this New Year's Eve, and despite the results, obviously. But yeah, how are you?
I am doing okay. I'm coming to you from the bedroom of my girlfriend's, mainly because my internet died at my house. So it's been a very interesting game, to say the least. Not the least of which, if you are in the Bay Area, my goodness, it's been pouring out. So if you are out tonight, please be safe out there. It's just been ridiculous out here for tonight. So the Sharks begin a 3-game road trip in. They begin in Dallas, which means, of course, Joe Pavelski. You have Arcadian native Jason Robertson in in the lineup, and things started out really nicely. Felix, I mean, you saw the engagement that this team had. I thought they showed a little more oomph to it, and things got going early. You had Alexander Barabanov get on the scoreboard right away to make it 1-0 with his, I believe it's his 6th of the season, if I'm not mistaken. But nice way to get things going, and so close to being offside.
Yeah, that was boy, this would probably be a different game if that went offside. But the Bear, let's see, the Barabanov goal. I can talk, I swear.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought honestly this was I liked obviously Barabanov's positioning and good that he stuck in behind the Dallas defense there and this was one of those on closer look I feel like Ottinger might want to have back because it looked to me like it slipped through the 5 hole so which to me from what I've seen of Ottinger he's usually been a pretty solid netminder for the Stars so but hey good for the Sharks to get on the board first.
Yeah, it made it 1-0, and then just a little bit after that, he draws a penalty for Dallas. Unfortunately for the power play, nothing happening tonight. 0 for 4 tonight on the power play, really and I'm kind of surprised, Felix. The 14th best power play in the NHL. The Sharks are, but they had their struggles tonight on in their special teams.
Yeah, but the thing is, I also did my homework on this too. The Stars PK is also pretty darn good. They have, at last check, a fourth ranked power play for a reason, or PK for a reason. Power play too, as I'm sure you'll bring up a bit later. But yeah, no, their special teams is just rock solid. I mean, and we know their personnel, we know the what they have. And so to me, it's not a surprise from what I could observe. Their PK is very aggressive, and of course, we saw that on one of their goals, which we'll also get into later tonight. But it's their aggressive PK essentially just feeds into that confidence, and
Yep.
I think that's really why they've been so successful on special teams.
Yeah, Dallas has been phenomenal, and kudos to Peter DeBoer, and he did he you know he did bring Steve Spott in, so who knows what it is, but Steve Spott is doing magic on the power play, and it showed at about midway through the period. Barabanov inadvertently high sticks Tyler Sagan. Sagan was checking to see if any of his teeth are going to pop out. It seemed like, but and then later you would have a hella dudes penalty, which of course was served by Kevin LeBanc. But it would come back to haunt him with two of their best Dallas Stars players, Joe Pavelski. Somehow, some way, it shouldn't surprise any Shark fan whatsoever, gets the tip in to tie it up at 1-1.
Shocker, right?
Yeah, right.
Like that, literally, that's all you can say. Like if, like you said, we know Joe Pavelski. I mean, drafted by the Sharks, right? Like so, I mean, we know what he's capable of. We know his hand-eye coordination. We know his skill. It goes without saying that somehow, some way, this man is going to get on the board, whether or not you like it.
Right, and the thing is he's been struggling too. He's only entering tonight. He only had 2 goals in his last 21 games, which is very unPavelski like for him. But he gets a tip in there. Of course, it's Robertson and Heiskanen on their power play to tie it up at 1-1, and then of course after the hella dudes penalty, you had Jason Robertson, the Arcadia, California native. Jason Robertson, he gets a power play goal. This time, Heiskanen and Pavelski on the assist. Still after 20 minutes, Felix, I was it's like, yes, they allowed 2 power play goals, but I thought the Sharks were in it early, and kept fighting.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, there is like in a way there's resilience there. I think that the thing is though, like, and not to play devil's advocate or anything, but like the Dallas Stars, man, like they again, like I said, they have the personnel and they have the weapons to score on you at will, and their defense is rock solid. And again, Ottinger, rock solid netminder, and so I was hopeful that the Sharks would, essentially, take the lead and all that, but get more into this game. But it's like it's a cautious optimism, if you will.
Yeah, being down 2-1 to one of the best teams in the West, at least, you would think, you take that and have some confidence in it. And it eventually showed about midway through the period. Oscar Lindblom with a nice backhanded shot. Nice little chemistry going on with Benino there. It ended up being like Sturm and Vlasic with the assists. Tie this game up at 2-2. Nice to see Lindblom get going. I think it was like his 3rd goal in 10 games. So slowly getting on there. And I know Hockey Jerk mentioned it on his Twitter. For Lindblom, his first high value goal of the season.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you go to the net, right? Like you cash in on those rebounds, you get to the net, get to the dirty areas, and then you put one in. So nice to see Lindblom put one in.
Yeah, and that fourth line with Sturm and Gadjevich really had some nice looks tonight. I thought they looked promising, had some chances. Gadjevich, I think he was it Gadjevich that had one off the crossbar earlier.
Probably. That sounded about right.
All right, yeah, and it just seems like Sharks were doing the right things. Just weren't getting that luck, getting that tying goal in there, and then unfortunately, not even like 2 minutes later, Frederick Olofsson gets a nice feed from Pavelski to set up his first NHL goal, and has some. You're in the Fremont area, and he played right nearby a while back.
Say it with me, everyone. Of course, he does score his first NHL goal against the Sharks.
It's so true, unfortunately. Yeah. So Olofsson was a former Santa Clara Valley Blackhawk. They play out of Sharks Ice in Fremont. So he gets his first goal of his career. That's eventually going to be ending up being your game winner, which Felix, that sucks. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, look, good on him for representing Fremont, my area. But again, and again, I'm happy for him that he got his first NHL goal. That's going to be one he's going to remember. Obviously, as the cliche goes, and I'm sure that's also true anyways. But yeah, just yeah, tonight has been I mean, honestly, personally, I'll just say this. I kind of expected this kind of result. um,
Yeah.
so
No, and the Sharks would get a power play with about a little over 5 minutes to go in the third period. Unfortunately, Rupe Hintz makes them pay shorthanded uh, with his 19th shorthanded that made it 4-2. Esa Lindell would add an empty netter to make it 5-2. And you kind of mentioned it already, Felix. Um, you kind of expected this to turn out the way it did, but it's still a frustrating one to say the least, just because the Sharks were in it early.
yeah, I mean, look, I guess for the season that they're having, you kind of hope for more positives. You kind of hope that the Sharks would have more things go their way. But in this league, you gotta earn your way, to wins. You gotta earn your way to good nights, and also you gotta have the skill. And while the Sharks have their Erik Karlsson's and Timo Myers, who by the way, I believe the broadcast said that Myers been quiet tonight. You have your Tomas Shuttles. Guess what? The other team has just as skilled players, if not better players. So I mean, it's a tough night in the National Hockey League, and there's no easy nights at all.
Yeah, Dallas did a good job shutting down Hurdle. He only had one shot on goal, while Timo and I'm looking at the stats here. Timo had 5 shots on goal, but nothing I don't think were too scary for Ottinger in there. Let's see, what else do we have here? LeBanc had no shots on goal, 5 hits in his time. So, you didn't get a whole lot. But for Erik Karlsson, he did get an assist on the Barabanov goal. He ties a franchise record for the most consecutive games scoring a point, an individual point streak to 12. He ties Rob Goodrow of the year that they were 11-71-2. And my goodness. So stick taps to Karlsson on that one.
I mean, for all the crap that this podcast has given Erik Karlsson, namely, I know AG's talked had his thoughts, we'll say, about Erik Karlsson. The dude can play very, very good offensive hockey, and the dude can set up plays that you wouldn't think are there. He's got great vision, and his skating ability is still very, very good. So it's no surprise, but also at the same time, wow, and I've seen Erik Karlsson actually play in person. I think it was a game against Vancouver close to my birthday, this past November.
Did somebody say Vancouver?
But I saw the pass that he made, I believe, that was Luke Cunn for one of the goals, and wow, that was a great pass in person. So I mean, It's not surprising, but at the same time, there's merit to how good he is as an offensive D-man.
Yeah, if he gets moved, I hope the Sharks get a boatload of assets. At the same time, if he can wait for some of these kids to come up, man, I can only imagine what he could do with the likes of Bordelot, Eklund, maybe Connor Bedard at the rate that the Sharks are going. So, Jerry F in the super chat, thank you so much. Of course, super chats always go help support paying the bills on the show and the website. So, Jerry F saying Happy New Year, thanks Puck Guy and Felix, and best wishes to you and all the Sharks family here for a great
All right.
2023.
Absolutely. I always appreciate it, Jerry, and of course everyone who throws in a super chat. We of course appreciate you as always.
Yes, indeed. So it is New Year's Eve. Uh, of course, I think a lot of people will be celebrating tonight unless you have to work at 4 a.m., of course. But Felix, we were kind of going through this before we jumped on the air. At this time last year, the Sharks were 17, 14, and 1. They're kind of still battling for a playoff spot if they weren't in a playoff spot at that time. And then the calendar year turned. This has to have been one of the most frustrating calendar years the Sharks have had in quite some time. They finish 2022 with a combined total of 26 wins, 43 losses, and 19 overtime losses. 71 points, essentially, in the calendar year, going back to January. And of course, it doesn't help. That's when everything went for a turn. We had that disgusting Detroit game there. I got to head up to Seattle for the last game of the year, and unfortunately, that was when the Kraken got their first home shutout in franchise history. It was just a tough year all around, a tough year with change. What will 2022 remind you or what takeaways do you have for 2022? A year of change in the Sharks organization.
My change. I think my change on honestly will be, and I don't know if this will sound much of a change, but we're just gonna have to keep riding the paint train. That's all I can
There you
think of
go.
right now.
You know,
But in all seriousness, like we know like where the Sharks stand. We know where what state this team is in, right? Like and like you said, it's been a tough calendar year, and guess what? It's gonna get tougher. Like this is, and this is a time when like we're kind of looking more at our prospects more closely, and the future of this franchise, quite frankly, a lot more closely. And of course, I know there are fans out there who are gonna mention a lot of Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, all those prospect names, and Bedard, of course, having himself a heck of a World Juniors, not surprisingly.
oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, this is gonna be there's gonna be a lot of pain to come, and I think most of us have long been ready for it. But I also hope that there is also gonna be improvements. I hope that there is going to be actual like what's the word I'm looking for? Like essentially like more of a fierceness, like more of a killer instinct in this team, so to speak. And I think, come to think of it now, and I think Nico Sturm and I believe Tomas Shuttle also mentioned this in separate interviews. There were times that they looked scared, essentially scared on the ice,
Mm.
and there were times where they played essentially not to lose instead of like stepping on the gas pedal like they should be, and trying to get as many goals as they can,
Yeah.
and or at the very least outworking the opposition.
Right.
So I think if we get more of that fierceness, more of that competition, that competitiveness out of the Sharks, that's a win, right? And I think Ian's also mentioned it before, where like essentially if we get good hardworking Sharks hockey, a good competitive game, a good competitive team, that's going to be a win moving forward.
Yeah, I think kind of what Ian said over the score, course of the season so far. If if we're entertained, that's probably the best bet we can have right now. If we can be entertained by how the Sharks play going for it. The last two games, probably not a lot to be entertained over at this time. That disgusting game in Philly, then this one tonight. It's it's tough. You're 11, 20, and 7 on the campaign. 29 points, and as painful as that is, that's not even the worst record in the league, which is frustrating.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Buffalo, someone who is a Buffalo Sabres fan watching right now is saying, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, they're saying hold my beer, or Chicago's like, well, we're the darlings of the NHL. Somehow, some way, we're gonna find a way to win the draft lottery. And you can say that. However, there are still the Desert Dogs. There, I mean, let's be honest too. The team that the Sharks lost to, Philly's in the dump too. Columbus is in there at 24. Anaheim, who you've beaten, is at 24. Chicago's at 20. Which, by the way, this is Sharks' next opponent on Sunday. Which, by the way, will be a pucknologist takeover. Um, and it's crazy. Ian in the chat. If I didn't have the World Juniors right now, I'd probably cry a lot. Yeah, I mean, and we probably will be crying if the Sharks don't get Bedard, because Bedard's put up some crazy, insane numbers at the World Juniors. Was it 4 games, 6 goals, 12 assists? I mean,
Yeah,
including a
it's
hat
something
trick.
crazy like that, right? It's something really, really crazy like that. And the dude's Bedard is doing this at 17 years old. Let's not forget. Like this kid is just bananas right now.
Just insane. It's just insane how that kid is. I mean, it's ridiculous what this kid's putting up. And you can only hope that he's a generational talent, and most importantly, wearing teal next year. So we'll see.
I mean, and well, I mean, not to like crap on on the tank parade, but the Sharks will have to do basically they would have to do really, 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 really bad for us to get or even have a sniff a chance to get Bedard. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So that'll be silly. That be crazy. The numbers are silly, not Forsberg silly, but effing silly. Yeah, I completely agree, and it's been crazy. One thing that Ian did mention earlier is Happy New Year's, biatches. Someone tell the Barracuda that there is no draft in the AHL. Well, they're playing like it. So let's recap it really quick, shall we?
Ooh, Barracuda!
So your San Jose Barracuda played back-to-backs with the Coachella Valley Firebirds this weekend. Last night wasn't fun. They got shut out. Today, well, wasn't great either. The Barracuda lose 4-1 to the Firebirds. Your bright point of the game, a beautiful tic-tac goal set up with all 5 players on the ice for the Barracuda, setting up Thomas Bordeleau with his 15th goal of the season. And kind of funny enough, Felix, 26 saves on 30 shots for Etu Makiniemi. But a tough one all around for the Cuda, which, by the way, finally debuted their steel gray jerseys. Oh my goodness, those are beauties.
Yeah, Barracuda, I'd like to cheer. We'd like to cheer about more things than just a tic-tac-toe goal. Thank you very much. But and the jerseys are pretty nice. I will say the gray jerseys, and this might be sacrilege, but they're not my favorite. But I would say. I don't know. There's something about the I did see the other Barracuda jerseys. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I kind of do like the slanted letters for the Cuda. So I mean that might just be me, but I mean that does kind of look cool. But I mean I'm not against the logo, the crest on the logo on the crest either. So
Uh, See, to me, I mean, the Cuda is fine. I think that's kind of for an alternate. I just want to see the Cuda fish on there, and that's probably the main reason why I like that gray one more than
mhm.
anything.
Right,
So
that makes sense. Mhm.
but the Cuda getting back to the on their play, it's been a struggle. I mean, the struggle bus is real, folks. I mean, we saw that Merkley was benched, last weekend over his play. Overall, it's an 8-game losing streak for the San Jose Barracuda, for a team I think many were hoping to just dominate the AHL. And granted, Eklund and Bordelot have been doing their thing lately. Daniel Gushin got an assist along with Eklund today. I think there were lofty goals for the Barracuda, and that might have been put up a little premature.
So I guess here's a question I have. Like, let's say the Sharks needed to call up someone like tonight or tomorrow night. Is there anyone like who's even worth calling up right now? Like,
I mean, it depends on the role. I think the Sharks have made it pretty clear they're not calling up the kids this year. They're sticking and staying. I think
wise choice, yeah.
CJ Cease has been put up. Scott Reedy seen time last year. You have, I mean, you've seen the up and down with the defense, and the defense for the Cuda has been hurting bad, especially since the Sharks have had issues. Not to least of which we didn't mention it when we were recapping the game. Radim Shimmick, uh, you know, didn't play after the 11-minute mark of the first period, so who knows what's going to happen there. Most likely, Scott Harrington will get the call uh, to, on Sunday against Chicago, and who knows if there's a corresponding move to that afterwards. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Indeed. And Ian mentioning, the schedule does not get easier either. They got Henderson, who is starting to come up, with the Silver Knights. Ontario's been on a roll. Coachella Valley twice again on a roll again. So it's not going to get easy. Eklund still has a slide, so he likely doesn't come off. Anyone else, who knows, according to Ian. Ian, by the way, we should mention, phenomenal job covering the CUDA on our Teal Town Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Teal Town USA on the Twitter machine for breakdowns and recaps of everything that's happening live during the game. So, again, the CUDA lose 4-1 to Coachella Valley. They will play, I believe it's on the 4th against Henderson. So be on the lookout for that. As for us, it is a Pucknologist takeover of After Dark on Sunday, as the Sharks will now get on a plane and head to Chicago. They'll celebrate the new year looking down, as Randy Hahn was saying, looking down to fireworks, as the team will get to Chicago, attempt to get some rest, and then get ready to take on the worst team in the NHL, the Chicago Blackhawks. So it's one of those ones where, at this rate, if you're on Team Tank, You're hoping for the heck of God, please lose to this team. I mean, Felix, I don't know what else to
Yeah,
say with this one coming up.
I think, yeah, I mean, hope for the best, cross your fingers. But I think, and I'm gonna bring up something that Ian, I believe, also has mentioned before. The team, let's make this one thing clear: their players themselves do not think management does, and so, while there are people watching this podcast on Team Tank. But again, nothing is guaranteed. We don't know if we are going to have the best chance of getting Bedard. Might, we might in the end. We might not. Who knows? And yes, I do agree. I'm hearing what Ian is also saying like earlier that it's still a lottery. Which yes, it is still a lottery. So, but at the same time, you do have to like sort of be within that mix uh, um, to be in the running for guys like Bedard eventually, etc. So yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens against Chicago.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Ah, boy. So, on that uplifting note, in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Odyssey. And of course, if you're on the YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That'll notify you when we go on here. And if you're watching us on the replay, put your comment down below as to what next for the Kuhre, what next for the Sharks. Your result, Joe frickin' Pavelski does it again on a 3-point night. Erik Karlsson is even wearing teal by the time 2023 comes to a close. Who knows? Leave your comments down below there. So, Felix, my friend, thank you so much. Your hockey New Year's resolutions and where the people can find you.
Um, just improve, get better as a team. Stop playing to not lose and actually play to win. Put together a good, solid team identity that you feel confident in moving forward. And yeah, and honestly, off the hockey note, I do want to wish everyone a happy New Year's tonight. Please stay safe wherever you are, and enjoy, whatever it is you're doing. And yeah, it's gonna be I have a feeling it's gonna be another long year. But hey, this is we're still watching, and we're on the pain train.
Definitely not the choo-choo train from 15 years ago. That's for sure. Appreciate you, buddy. I am PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Again, the Sharks and the Blackhawks play Sunday. That's at 4 o'clock. And it will be a Pucknologist takeover roughly around 6:30. So AJ and Jerk will recap the game and the week that was in Sharks hockey. You want to add something?
And sorry, one more thing. I was also going to say this. For those of you watching and for those of you who are going to be watching the replay, thank y'all for sticking with us. Thank y'all for, watching us every year. We appreciate the views. We appreciate all the likes, subscribes, all the comments. We really appreciate the support. And as all of us have said before, this is a passion project. This is something that we love to do. And so to see the support that we have, every year, it's very, very heartwarming. And yeah, just keep it up. And yeah, thank you for your support.
Incredibly appreciated. Kind of going off of what Felix just said. We just hit 2,900 subscribers. Please tell your friends. Let's get to 3,000 before this season ends. We know it's been a tough go around the last few years. it's been pain. We're not through the worst part of the pain yet, folks. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be frustrating. It's gonna be angry. Um, not gonna lie. There are many times after this season where I'm so frustrated with this team and where it's headed. And this show kind of just brings it calm down a little bit. So we hope that we're a support group with everybody here. It's tough. It's been a tough year, but we're sticking through it. So we appreciate you sticking with us as well. So for Felix, for myself, and for everyone at Teal Town USA, have a great New Year's. Be safe out there, especially if you're in the Bay Area. There are flooded roads all over the place, so please be safe. But we'll be back with you Sunday following Sharks and Blackhawks for a Pucknologist takeover of After Dark. So be on the lookout for then. And then later in the week, it's Anaheim. So join us after each and every game. So the simple way to do it, just hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when we go on the air. So we'd appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for watching. Have a great New Year's. And until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. Happy New Year, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night for Pucknologists.